actually in chapter number 6. Last week we discussed about chapter number 6. We actually started chapter number 6 last week, where we discussed about Jagan's problem, or else Jagan's communication gap with Mali. This is what we discussed last week, and if you can remember, in chapter number 5 we discussed about the new character, that is Grace, right? So Mali is actually moving to America in order to learn about the art of story writing. At the end of the day, Mali comes back from America with a half Korean, half American girl called Grace. So Mali introduces that girl to Jagan, saying that this is my wife. But later we realize that they are not married, they are living together. So as a result of that, Jagan was totally upset. And in chapter number 5, we realized that all these letters that Jagan received, all the blue color air mails that Jagan received, all those letters are written by Grace, not by Mali. So as a result of that, Jagan faced a lot of crucial circumstances, because all these time period, he was thinking that Mali wrote all these letters to him. So he thought that their communication gap cannot be seen now because Mali is writing letters to him. But later, Grace asked him to bring the letters and showed him the signature, right? GM. So in that signature, by looking at the signature, Jagan identified that, okay, all these letters are not written by my son. All these letters are written by Mali. So soon after Mali came to India, he behaved like a Western character. So as a result of that, in front of the people, he became a laughing stock. But when we discussed about the Grace's character, she behaved like an Indian daughter-in-law. So as a result of that, even Jagan liked her, right? At the very first time, Jagan did not like her because Jagan thought that she is a half Korean, half American girl and she is not suitable for the culture. But later he realized that, no, this girl is really good. This girl is actually behaving according to the Indian tradition and Indian culture. So as a result of that, they had a very good conversation, and Jagan actually liked her. So then we came to chapter number 6, where in chapter number 6, we discussed that Mali is trying or else planning to do something new. His new plan is he is going to start a new business. This business is known as Mali Enterprises, right? Mali Enterprises. What is he going to do here? He is going to import story writing machines from America, and he is going to distribute them in Malgudi. That is what he is going to do. So Grace's support is actually received by him. He really enjoyed that. So Grace is always supporting for Mali. And we should not forget that in chapter number 6, something very much important occurs, where in chapter number 5 and chapter number 4, Jagan was very proud about his son, right? All the other children who lived in the Malgudi town, they were not able to go to America for their higher studies. But Mali went to America, so Jagan was very proud about that. But later, same proud father became embarrassed in front of people because of the actions done by his son. So you have to understand about that fact, right? Same proud father became embarrassed because of the actions done by his son, right? So a lot of people that Jagan met on the road, they always raise the question, Jagannath, your son has married to a half Korean, half American girl. You are a disciple of Mahatma Gandhi. You believed in our Indian tradition. Why did you allow your son to marry this type of a girl, right? Did you like this type of a marriage? So that kind of questions were raised by people. So as a result of that, Jagan was embarrassed because Jagan is a traditional character, orthodox character. So as a result of that, he faced a lot of crucial circumstances because of the actions done by Mali, right? So you have to remember all these facts. Throughout the novel, what we can understand, Jagan is showing some kind of unconditional love towards Mali, but Mali takes the maximum advantage of that. At the end of the day, Mali becomes a corrupted boy because Jagan did not provide proper attention, proper advice, and proper guidance. We can't say that Jagan is a bad father, or else he's a negative character, because he always provided everything for Mali. But proper guidance and proper respect and proper guidance is not actually given by him. As a result of that, at the end of the day, Mali becomes a corrupted character, right? So make sure to remember about the major characters. The entire novel is about those two characters. So in chapter number 6, Jagan got to know that Mali has started a new business. But the problem is Jagan got to know about this from a third party. Mali did not told him directly. Mali did not tell him directly, right? He got to know about this from a third party, from Kasim, right? When they are having a conversation, Kasim suddenly said that your son is going to start a new business. He is going to bring all the story writing machines from another country. So that is what he is going to do. Don't you know about that? Then Jagan said that, no, I don't have any idea about that. I don't know whether he is going to do something like that. So, okay, I will ask from him. So Jagan came to ask this from his son. At that moment, we can see the communication gap where Jagan had to wait until Mali gives him some kind of time period to meet. So we can clearly understand what kind of behavior that Mali is depicting here, where a father has to wait to take permission from his son in order to meet him. Just see the terrible situation. It is very pitiful situation where as a father, Jagan had to wait. Jagan had to wait as a father for to take the permission from his son. Right? Normally, a father must not wait like that. Right? A father must not wait like that. But in this particular story, what we can understand, Mali's negative behavior can be seen. Right? So Jagan becomes a stranger inside his own house, where Jagan had to wait outside Mali's room in order to get the permission to meet his own son. This is a very pitiful situation. So make sure to understand that is something very much important. So Jagan asked the question, okay, you said that you are going to start a new business. So your business is actually distributing story writing machines. Can I know about the functioning part? I want to know how this particular story writing machine functions. Can you explain me? Right? So Mali has already explained to him, but he says that, okay, since you are asking again, I will give you some kind of explanation. This is my plan. I am going to buy the subscription. In order to buy the subscription, I need 200,000. So what I am going to do is that I am going to import these story writing machines from America, and we are going to distribute them in Malgudi, where we don't have to enjoy all these old books, old legendary books like Mahabharata and Ramayana. People can write their own stories once they buy a story writing machine. You don't have to read other people's stories. If you can buy a story writing machine, you can write your own story. So that is the major idea that he had. So we are going to continue from there. I don't know what is the page number exactly, but make sure to remember my book is totally different from your book. So please make sure to pay your attention towards your page number. And if somebody knows the page number, please make sure to update. Right. So we are going to start from here. I hope you guys can see the screen. The son looked pityingly at him, rose, opened the packing case, pushed aside a lot of brown paper and thread, and lifted out a small object which looked like a radio cabinet and placed it on the table. I was only waiting for this to arrive yesterday. I had to clear it from the railway office. What a lot of time is wasted here. I have never seen a more wasteful country than ours. Now, this quotation is something very important that you have to pay your attention. Please highlight this quotation. As you can see on the screen, I am going to highlight that in blue color. I hope that in your page, in your book, you have that page, right? So please highlight that page number 75. Thank you, Puta. That is in pink color book. So here, by referring to this quotation, we can clearly understand the perspective or else the opinion of Mali towards his motherland, where he says, I was only waiting for this to arrive yesterday. I had to clear it from the railway office. What a lot of time is wasted here. I have never seen a more wasteful country than ours. So from this quotation, what we can clearly understand is that the young generation's attitude, the young generation's opinion about their motherland, Try to understand this. So in this novel, my dear students, we are going to study about the pre-independent and post-independent changes of Indian society. So Jagannath belongs to the pre-independent period, where Mali belongs to the post-independent period. So Jagannath took Mahatma Gandhi as his role model, but most of the youngsters, after the independence, most of the youngsters, they did not take Mahatma Gandhi as their idol. So most of the young people at that time period were not happy about the changes that occurred in the Indian society, right? So they were not happy about that. They always wanted to deal with the different types of changes, and or else they always wanted to get ready and move on with the globalization, right? They like the globalization process. They always wanted to go to other countries and explore. So Mali is that type of character. This quotation can be taken as one good example for generation gap, right? Generation gap, or else you can call it the conflict between two cultures, right? So people who lived in the modern culture, they did not enjoy their motherland. Same thing happened to Sri Lanka, right? Most of the young people, they do not, they are not happy about our motherland, right? They are not happy about the system. That is why most of the young boys and girls, they go to foreign countries after their O-levels and A-levels, because they are not happy about our motherland. They personally know that they can earn a lot of money and they have a lot of opportunities in other countries. So same thing happened here. Please try to understand. In this quotation, what we can understand here is that, okay, young people or else young generation, they are not happy about the behavior of the country, right? Where he openly says, I was only waiting for this to arrive yesterday. I had to clear it from the railway office. But a lot of time is wasted here. I have never seen a more wasteful country than ours. So he openly says that India can be taken as the most wasteful country, right? So it clearly shows that there is no patriotism. There is no patriotism at all when it comes to young generation, right? Now we have to understand. Now let's check what kind of comment is given by Jagannath, who is representing the older generation. Let's pay the attention, right? Where Jagan says, Jagan refrained from retorting. We find it quite adequate for our purposes. Now Mali stood beside the cabinet in the attitude of lecturer. He, right, for our purposes. Now he patted it fondly and said, with this machine, anyone can. I will move on to the next part. I hope you guys have highlighted. Right, so we are here where he says that, right, okay. He patted it fondly and said, with this machine, anyone can write a story. Come nearer and you will see how it works. Jagan obediently pushed his chair back, rose and stood beside his son, who seemed to tower above him. He felt proud about him. God knows what he eats out of those things. He looks tired, no doubt, but now well-grown. How well-grown is he? He reflected as Mali explained. Now, this part is also very much important. Please make sure to highlight that, right? So this quotation is something very much important that we have to understand. What is the quotation? I will highlight that. So you have the quotation here, right? He felt proud of him. You can start from here, right? He felt proud of him. God knows what he eats out of those things. So Mali is not actually taking the food cooked by Jagannath. He looked tired, no doubt, but how well grown is he? So this particular quotation can be taken as one good example for, right, unconditional love. Unconditional love of a father, right? Whatever said and done, this quotation can be taken as unconditional love, right? From this quotation, what we can realize is that unconditional love depicted by Jagan's character. So whatever said and done, my dear students, you can understand Jagan is paying a lot of attention. Jagan is paying a lot of love towards Mali. Even though Mali is neglecting him, even though Mali is ill-treating his father, even though Mali is refusing his father, Jagan did not do like that, right? Until the last moment, Jagan wanted to secure the life of his son. So this quotation can be taken as one of the best examples to show what kind of unconditional love possessed by Jagan. He felt proud of him. God knows what he eats out of those things. He looked tired, no doubt, but how well grown is he? So from this quotation, we can clearly understand what kind of love is possessed by Jagannath towards Mali. You can highlight that and you can write down the themes. Make sure to use a highlighter. Make sure to highlight in your textbook, right? I think it is in page number 75. If somebody can put the page number, it will be a great help for other students as well, right? So we will move on. Now Jagan is, Mali is actually explaining what are the things that, how this particular machine is working, right? He is going to explain how this particular machine is working. So we will try to understand that. You see these four knobs. Father, you can see these four knobs. One is for characters, one is for plot situation, the other one is for climax, and the fourth is built on the basis that a story is made up of character, situations, emotions, and climax, and by the right combination. So Mali explains about the functioning part of that story writing machine. So this is something very much impractical. You guys can understand. A story is something written by a person as a result of his creative imagination. Now, according to my personal opinion, that cannot be given to a machine. Can't you understand that, right? If you are writing a short story, if you are writing a poem, that is a result of your imagination, right? A machine cannot do that. If a machine can do that, we don't need literature, right? So the machine can teach you literature. Literature is a social subject. Literature can be identified as a social subject. So here it is little bit impractical. We can't actually agree with that because this machine is some kind of an unusual machine. My personal argument is that a book cannot be written by a machine, right? Because it can be identified as a result of someone's creative imagination. But however, according to Mali, this is kind of a really good invention where people can write their own stories by themselves, right? That is why he has introduced this story writing machine, where India is very rich when it comes to literature. They have a lot of legendary books, a lot of legends like Mahabharata and Ramayana. But according to Mali, he says that we should not read those books anymore. If you like to write a story, you can write your story by yourself. You have to buy a story writing machine, then you can make your own story. That is the argument brought by him. Right. So we have discussed about that part. We will move on to actually we have discussed about page number. In my book, it is page number 76. I am moving to page number 77. Right. Check whether in your book what is the page number. Right. In my book, I think it is page number 77, if I am not mistaken. Please say, yeah, it is page number 77. I am going to start from here. Please check in your book what is the page number. If anybody can, what do you call, put the page number, that will be a great help for other students. Right, it is same page 75. Thank you, Dinuk. You are doing a great help. Very good. He interrupted his oration. Oration means his speech, right? Here, oration refers to his speech for a moment to pull a drawer out and glance at a crystal clear sheet of paper. He shut the drawer and craned back to say, "You can work on it like a typewriter. You make up your mind about the number of characters. It works on a transistor and ordinary valves. Absolutely foolproof. Ultimately, we are going to add a little fixture by which any existing story could be split up into components and analyze. The next model will incorporate it." Jagan asks, "Do you want to use this for writing stories?" So Jagan is asking the question. So he is a little bit baffled now, right? So Mali is explaining about the functions. So Jagan is a little bit baffled or else surprised. "Yes, I am also going to manufacture and sell it in this country. An American company is offering to collaborate. In course of time, every home in the country will possess one, and we will produce more stories than any other nation. Ramayana and Mahabharata, those old stories, there is no modern writing. Whereas in America alone, every publishing season, 10,000 books are published." Now, this paragraph is also very much important. He is comparing the Indian society and the American society. That part is also very much important that we have to pay your attention. So please make sure to highlight that part. I will move on to that part. If you read very carefully, you can find out, right? We will highlight that part, right? We have something like this. So he explains that Mahabharata and Ramayana, right? So now we are little backward except Mahabharata and Ramayana. Can't you understand? He is actually discriminating his own motherland, right? Those old stories. So according to him, they are old stories, right? They are old stories. There is no modern writing, whereas in America alone, every publishing season, 10,000 books are published. So with this quotation, we can clearly understand how he compares the two countries, right? Two different cultures. Can't you understand that? Very much important. Please highlight that. It can be taken as one good example for generation gap or else the conflict between two cultures. So Jagan Mali is clearly comparing the American society and the Indian society. According to him, Indian society is much more better than the American society. Sorry, American society is much more better than the Indian society. Where Indian people are still engaging with all these old stories like Ramayana and Mahabharata. But according to him, American society is much more better than that, where every publishing season they have 10,000 books to be published, right? So they are very much advanced when it comes to culture. He rushed back to his desk and gazed on the cyclostyle sheet again before repeating, "Yes, 10,000 titles. It is a must for every home. All a writer will have to do is to own and press the keys, and he will get the formula on a roll of paper." So it is something very easy. You don't have to have a creative imagination, right? So writing a book is something very simple. That is what he explains, right? So we will move on. He will get the formula on a roll of paper from which he can build up the rest. Jagan felt his seat and went over to examine the machine, approached it so cautiously that Mali said, touch it and see yourself. Jagan peered at the apparatus closely and read the headings. Characters, good, bad, neutral, emotions, love, hate, revenge, devotion, pity, complexities, characters, incidents, accidents, climax, placement and the disposal and conclusion. It looked pretty. It's mahogany. Right. So we are here. Veneer was grained. Its keys were green, red, and yellow to indicate the different categories. Right. So Jagan actually had some kind of idea about the machine as well. So according to Mali, this is the best machine that ever produced, where people can write their own stories and they can enjoy by reading their own stories. That is what happened. So I'm moving to page number 78 in your book. I don't know what is the page number. Please make sure to tell me the page number. Anyone? In the pink color book, what is the page number? Thank you, Fatima. It is page number 76. Right. Okay. How can one write a story with it? So Jagan is asking the question, can't you understand the conflict now? So Mali is believing that, okay, by using a story writing machine, you can write a story. But according to Jagannath, he knows that story writing is something unique. My story is completely different from your story. In order to write a story, we have to have some kind of creative imagination, right? Each and every person cannot become a writer. Each and every person cannot become a poet. It is kind of a talent that we possess, right? By using a machine, that cannot be done, right? That is the reality. So Jagan understood this reality. Jagan as a character, he understood this reality. That is why he is asking the question from Mali. That is why he is asking the question from Mali. As you can see on the screen, right? You can write down, how can one write a story with it? Jagan said, exactly as one does with a typewriter. This is like a typewriter. If you want to write a story, you can use it that manner. Mali answered, and Jagan admired him for the fund of information he had gathered on the subject. Just at this moment, Grace came in, stood beside them, and said, isn't he clever? In a jocular manner, Jagan could not answer her immediately. His mind was too full of confusion and questions. He felt hemmed in. The room had lost its original appearance and looked like an office in a foreign country. Please highlight that, right? So Jagan clearly understood that everything has changed. In his own house, everything has changed. Can't you understand it, right? So here, Jagan says something very much important. I will highlight that in red color, right? So where Jagan says that the room had lost its original appearance, right? The room had lost its original appearance and looked like office in a foreign country. So you can clearly understand one of the major themes in the novel, that is actually generation gap, traditional and modern culture. So Jagan's house used to be a traditional house. Now what happened? It has changed. Now what happened? It has changed. The room had lost its original appearance and looked like an office in a foreign country. So Jagan understood that everything has changed. Everything has changed. What was Mali trying to do? Right? What was his own part in all this activity? What was going to be the nature of his involvement? He said with some trepidation. Trepidation means some kind of puzzlement. Grace, do you know that our ancestors never even wrote the epics? They composed the epics and recited them, and the great books lived thus from generation to generation. Please highlight that, my students. Very important quotation. Very important quotation. Please underline that. This clearly shows one of the major themes of the novel, traditional and modern culture. The gap between traditional and modern culture, right? According to Jagannath, he says that, Grace, did you know what happened when it comes to our generation? Our people, they never engaged in this kind of behavior, right? They never engaged in this kind of behavior, right? Grace, do you know that our ancestors never even wrote the epics? They composed the epics and recited them, and the great books lived thus from generation to generation in the breath of the people, right? So most of the books, most of the epics made by us, right, made by our ancestors, they did that. They recited them, and those books actually came from generation to generation by the word of mouth, right? They recited them to their children. Mothers recited them to their children and their grandparents likewise. So it came from generation to generation from that perspective. So by referring to this quotation, what you can understand here is that the generation gap, right? The conflict between two cultures, modern culture and the traditional culture, where Jagan is representing the traditional culture. he says that I don't think this story writing machine will work because, according to my opinion, our ancestors, they wrote books like that. They recited them, and then it came from one generation to another generation. They didn't have any typewriters. They didn't have any machines. But according to Mali, he says that no, that cannot be done. We have to use new technology, right? By using the new technology only, we can survive, or else we can move on with the society, right? So what you can understand in this chapter number 6, the conflict between father and son and their mentality about different types of cultures. Can't you understand that? They have different types of ideas about two different cultures, right? That is what you have to understand, right? So we have completed that part. I hope that you guys have highlighted. We are moving from there, right? Okay. Before he could proceed further, Mali said with this guys, oh, these are not the days of your ancestors. Today we have to compete with advanced countries, not only in economics and industry, but also in culture. Very important quotation. See the response given by Mali. Very important quotation, my dear students. Please make sure to highlight that, right? Now, in the previous quotation, I explained you about the generation gap, which is related to the ancient culture. This is the answer given by Mali. This quotation clearly shows us about the modern society, what kind of conflict is there in the modern culture and between the Western culture, modern culture and the traditional culture. I'm sorry, right? Where Mali gives a very advanced answer where he says, oh, these are not the days of your ancestors. Today we have to compete with advanced countries, not only in economics and industry, but also in culture. So what we can understand here is that according to Mali, everything has changed, right? So everything must change with the time period. Otherwise, everything will be there in the same place. So according to him, everything should change. That is the idea actually given by him, right? So this is the idea actually given by him. So you can clearly understand the story. Right. Then what happens? While on the one hand, Jagan felt delighted at the way his son seemed to be blossoming after years of sullen silence, he was at the same time saddened by the kind of development he noticed in him now. Now, this is something very much important. So Jagan is having Jagan is having two different mindsets. On one hand, actually, he is happy, as you can see on the screen, while on one hand, Jagan felt delighted at the way his son seemed to be blossoming after years of sullen silence. So Jagan was really happy that, okay, my son has done something where he is actually going through a different type of a path. At least he has got a path now. So as father, he was happy. On the other hand, he was really upset that what kind of development actually taken place in his life, right? What kind of development actually took place in his life, that is actually westernization. So Jagan did not like that. That westernization is not actually enjoyed by him. That is what we can understand, right? Okay, very good. So we will move on to the next part. I hope you can understand the story, right? I am reading the entire story, but in your school, they will not do like that. So I think that it will be a great help for you to understand the entire story. He was at the same time saddened by the kind of development he noticed in him now. The boy went on, if you have the time, I would like to explain. The boy says that, okay, father, if you have time, I can explain you what is going on, right? One or two other points. Jagan helplessly glanced at the traveling clock on Mali's table and jingled the keys of his shop in the depths of his jibba pocket. Ultimately, you may have to give up your sweet making and work in our business. I will give you a nice air-conditioned room with a couple of secretaries. So see the negative attitude that Mali had, right? See the negative attitude. Can't you see that? Please highlight. Very much important. Mali's negative attitude. Now, all this time period, Mali took his father's money. Mali lived from his father's money, right? Now he explains that you can actually very easily give up your business, father. I can give you a job with set of secretaries, right? With set of secretaries. That is the idea given by him. So here we can see a negative behavior in Mali's character. Can't you understand that? We have to understand the fact that he actually went to America by using his father's money. Yes or no? He actually went to America by using his father's money, right? All the expenses done by Jagannath, right? After his mother's death, up to his age of 23 or 22, all the expenses are done by Jagannath as a father. Whatever the money that he asked, Jagan, without having any hesitation, Jagan provided all the luxuries. He came with a half Korean, half American girl, and he started to live in Jagan's house. All the food and beverages supported by Jagan. So Mali, without starting a business, Mali is giving some kind of idea to his father. You can also join with my business. He has not even started the business. Can't you understand? He has not even started the business. So he is requesting or else asking his father to join his business. So this is some kind of a negative behavior where Mali is, we can see Mali's character is larger than life. Larger than life. This is what we can understand. So even though he has a lot of ambitions, he is not working towards them. Mali is a character who got a lot of ambitions. He's a very ambitious character. But what we can understand, he is not working towards that. He is not working towards that. That is what we can realize, right? So Mali is asking his father to join with this business. This is what we can understand, right? So we will move on to the next part. I hope you guys can understand, right? If you have any problems, you can ask. Jagan had never known his son could talk so fluently. He wished secretly that he would speak differently. He felt the time had come for him to ask the question, do they write all their stories with this machine in America? So Jagan asked the question, in United States, do they write all their stories using these machines? That is what he asked. Right, I am moving to page number 79. Can somebody please tell me in your book, what is the page number? In your book, what is the page number? Okay, Dinu, thank you. Page number 78. 78 refers to this book. In this book, I don't know whether you can see that, right? Right, you can see this. Right, the pink color one, right? You have to go through the pink color. Okay, right. So we are going to start from there. Right. Right. As if he wished to fill a lacuna in his knowledge. Lacuna means lack of, right? Lacuna refers to lack of knowledge. So Jagan did not have that knowledge. Lacuna refers to lack of knowledge, right? Lack of. The word refers to lack of, right? Lack of his knowledge and that land in its civilization. Mostly, said Mali. Yeah, in America, most of them, they use story writing machines in order to write their stories. Most magazines, added Grace. Most of the magazines are written by using these story writing machines. And nowadays, switching over to the machine in their fiction departments and out of the bestsellers last year, at least they are a product of it. The proposition is what we get American collaboration worth $200,000. This is something important. So Mali wanted to have this amount of money from Jagannath in order to start his business. $200,000, right? In order to buy the subscription, he needed that amount of money. $200,000 provided we find 51,000 to start the business, said Mali, right? We find 51,000 to start the business, said Mali. $51,000 would be the equivalent of, so Jagan is actually having the calculation, right? Jagan is having the calculation. I will move on from there, right? $51,000 would be the equivalent, began Jagan, starting the age-old calculation. Work it yourself, said Mali with a touch of irritation in his voice. Let me first finish my sentence. They will be responsible for the know-how and technical personal help us set up the plant, run it for 6 months, and then they will also provide us with promotional material. What a lot of new expressions the boy had learned, Jagan reflected with admiration. So whatever said and done, we can clearly understand Jagan is really happy about his son. At times he felt really sad. So even in this paragraph or else even in this chapter, we understood that Mali is showing his disrespect. Mali is trying to refuse his father. Mali is trying to ill-treat, neglect his father, but Jagan is not behaving like that. This can be identified as one good example when it comes to Jagan's character. Jagan is a really good father. Jagan's unconditional love can be seen almost everywhere. Whenever Mali is trying to refuse him, whenever Mali is trying to neglect him, Jagan is not doing the same thing to his son. This clearly shows as the connection between children and parents, right? The clear connection between children and parents. Anybody can understand this, right? So we will move on from there, right? So they will be responsible for the know-how and technical personal help and set up the plant and run for it 6 months, right? Okay. While Mali added, we shall have to collect $49,000 by public subscription and the controlling stock will be in our hand. So altogether, Mali is asking for $49,000 from his father, right? Mali is asking for $49,000 from his father, right? This is what we have discussed. Jagan had thought till then that his son was a moron. Moron means a stupid character, right? Moron. Morons means a stupid. Morons refers to a stupid character. Jagan thought that his son is a stupid character. He looked for a brief second at Grace and asked, "What was your subject in the college?" Right? He asked the question from Grace, "What was your subject in the college?" She answered, "I have told you, I graduated in domestic economy at Michigan." Why go into all that now? So Mali is in confusion, right? So his father asked about the educational qualifications, right? So this is not actually relevant to the story, right? The situation, right? Educational qualifications possessed by Jagan, Mali and Grace, right? Jagan suddenly asked that question, but this question is not relevant. So that is why Mali asked that, "Why are you asking?" Jagan said, "I was wondering if Grace had also studied business subjects, and now it was Mali's turn to wonder why his father said that." Jagan left without further comment. At 4:30, when the cousin arrived, he told him, now cousin actually arrived at the shop, right? At 4:30, when the cousin arrived, he told him, "Have you any idea what $50,000 in rupees?" The cousin said, "A little over 2 lakhs of rupees." So Mali is asking 200,000 from his father in order to start his business called Mali Enterprises, right? So we are moving to page number 80, right? In your book, can you please tell me what is the page number? Anyone? Fatima, thank you, Puta. You are doing a great help. Page number 79. Very good. Right. How do you know? By a simple calculation. I also verified it yesterday when I meet Doji, our banker, after I left Mali. 2 lakhs. News Jagan. Where does one find it? How he is going to find a lot of money? In your bank book, said Kasim promptly in a jocular way. Right. So Kasim is the person who gave the first impression. Right. He gave the first impression. Right. He gave the first impression. He gave the first impression, right? First impression, right? So Jagan was searching how Mali is going to earn this amount of money. So Kazim gave the first impression, saying that, definitely he is going to ask money from your bank account. There is no doubt about that, right? Are people under the impression that I have a mass wealth? Do people think that I am a rich person? Yes, of course. Although everyone admires your simple living and high thinking habits. Right. This is the truth about Jagan. Very important quotation. Please silent. Right. The truth about Jagan. Right. Even though Jagan is having a simple living, high thinking lifestyle, people know that Jagan is a rich character. Right. People know the truth. Right. People know the truth. Jagan is rich. They believe that Jagan is rich. Right. That is what Kasim says. Even though you are having a simple living, high thinking lifestyle, people know that you are rich. People know that you are rich, right? This is actually said by Kasim. Right. Okay. So we will move on to the next part. Right. How can wealth accumulate with the price of foodstuff standing where it is? I just keep up the business so that these poor fellows may not be thrown out of employment. That's all. So Jagan says that I am not a rich person. Right? I am not a rich person. I am not a rich person, right? According to him, right? He is doing a service, right? He is doing a service. He is doing a service, right? He is not a rich person, according to him, right? According to him, he is not a rich person. He is doing a service that everybody knows. Said the Kasi, are you in interested in buying raisins? I saw a fresh stock arrives at the Said's shop, hand-packed quality. Have you asked the cook? He told me that he needed them because I found Sohan Babdi rather tame without raisins today. Jagan cried furiously. Is that so? Why didn't he tell me? Right? So they are having some conversation about some kind of ingredients that they have to use in order to make these sweets. The cousin said, "You did not come in time, that's all." And he could not wait for the start. Why do you get up? See? Why do you get upset? I'm sorry. Why do you get upset? It's because I don't like the idea of cheating my customers. Do you realize that the price for the customers remains the same with or without raisings? And your own margin of profit is improved, said the Qasim. Jagan glared at him. So very important quotation. This again shows Jagan's dual nature. Please make sure to highlight, right? The dual nature of Jagannath, right? Where Jagan says, I do not like the idea of, this part is very important, cheating my customers. I don't like to do that. Do you realize that the price for the customer remains the same with or without raisings? Then Jagan gave that comment. So the reality is actually said by Qasim. Where Qasim said that, and your own margin of profit is improved. However, your profit margin will be improved, said Qasim. Jagan glared at him. So Jagan could not say anything. Even though you are not raising the prices, you get the profit, right? You get the profit. That is the reality, right? Whatever said and done, at the end of the day, you will earn the profit. So this is what we call dual personality of Jagan, right? Dual personality, right? In front of people, he behaves like a Gandhian disciple or else the next Gandhi, but in reality, he is a money-minded character, right? He is a money-minded character. This is what you have to understand. He is a money-minded character, very much money-minded character, right? So this is what we can understand, right? Said the Qasim. The Qasim added, you are rare being, but that would be the only line of thought of some of your competitors in this city, right? Mollified, Jagan said, with a touch of pride. I was held. So I'm moving to the next part. Right. I am in this one, page number 81. Right. Modified up by Mali, poor boy. I have to give the time he needs now and then. Otherwise, there is bound to be a lot of misunderstanding. His ideas turn on big figures nowadays. He seems to have learned many things in America. So here also Jagan is really happy, right? Even in this quotation, what we can understand, Jagan's ultimate love, right? Even this entire paragraph clearly shows us the unconditional love of Jagannath, right? So it can be taken as one good example for unconditional love of Jagannath, right? Unconditional love, right? Unconditional love that Jagan had towards his son. He wants me to use my influence to sell the shares of the company. This was a big relief to Jagan. I am sure many people will be interested in the proposal. So Mali is going to sell the shares, right? He is going to sell the shares of his proposal to the other people, including your good self. He is going to include you as well. I don't know whether how he is going to do that, but he is going to do the same thing as well. No harm in finding 5 or 10 along with the rest. It's okay. He can find some people to invest in his business. No harm is done. That is what he said, right? Mali's idea is different, right? Mali's idea is different. He has reserved 5 or 10,000 for people outside and counts on you for $31,000 for a start. Right. So here Qasim explains that he is expecting your help, right? Your son is expecting your help, right? Your son is expecting your help, right? Expecting your help. So Jagan didn't know anything about that, right? Expecting your help. Jagan didn't know anything about that, right? So he says your son is expecting your help. And you have found this rupee equivalent, about 2.5 lakhs of rupees. Where does one find it? I have already indicated. Does Mali think so? Of course. I have already indicated because I said that Mali is expecting your help, right? Mali thinks you are a rich person, right? Mali thinks you will provide the money, right? You will provide the money that he needs. You will provide the money that he needs, right? You will provide the money that he needs, right? So Mali is expecting that you can provide that amount. Does Mali think so? Of course. And he also says he knows where you keep cash, not sent to the bank, right? So this is also another example. Jagan's dual personality, right? Jagan is a person who loved money. Yeah, he is not putting certain amount of money into the bank even. Can you understand? So that is what his behavior is all about. He says so. Does he? Said Jagan laughing within him, right? So Mali knows that where you keep all the money, right? That is what he said. Jagan laughing within himself at the fact that he had changed the venue of the immaculate cash. Money is an evil, he added with great feeling. Now, this is something very much important. Please highlight that one of the major quotations in the novel, one of the major quotations. Jagan said that money is corrupted, right? Money is corrupted, right? Because of money, people will be corrupted, right? Because of money, people will be corrupted, right? Too much of love towards money, right? Too much of love towards money. Now, Jagan realized that Mali became a corrupted boy. Mali became a corrupted boy because of money, right? Jagan understood that too much of love towards money will cause problems, right? Will cause problems. This is what happens, right? Right. So Jagan understood that. That is why he uses the dialogue, money is an evil. Money is an evil. Because of money, so many problems can occur. Really, so if you think that money is evil, the cousin said, shall I ask the front stall boy to throw away the bronze jug? So rather than Nanny, since you don't need money, shall we throw away all the money? You don't need that, right? So they both laughed at the joke. But the relaxation was short-lived for Jagan. He became very serious suddenly and said, I hope you will find an occasion to tell my son that I have not got all that money. Please tell my son that I am not ready to give that amount of money to him because I don't have. I don't have, right? Please make sure to tell my son that I don't have that amount of money. Now you are both on speaking terms. Now you don't have any problems with each other, right? Why can't you speak, right? So that is the question. Now you are both on speaking terms. Why don't you tell him yourself? So Kazim says that why can't you go and talk to himself and why can't you go and talk to him by yourself, right? No problem will be there, right? So this is the answer actually given by Jagan. I do not wish to spoil the mood, right? This is the problem that we find where Jagan says I do not wish to spoil his mood, right? This is what we call Jagan fails, right? Jagan fails to provide, right? Jagan fails to provide attention. Jagan fails to provide attention, right? Guidance, right? And advisors as a father. This is where Jagan fails, right? Advisors as a father, right? He failed to do that as a father. He failed to do that, right? So this is what we can understand, right? He thought, what did he thought? He thought real love is providing everything that Mali asked. Providing everything that Mali asked. Very important, right? He thought real love is providing everything that Mali asked. At the end of the day, Mali became a corrupted boy as a result of this is what happened. So you can write down and you can pass me a message, then we can go to the next part. Please highlight those important parts and write down. Please pass me a message, hurry up. Right, okay. So we will move on to the next part. We will go to the next page. I have completed page number 81. So we will move on to the next page. Right. I am moving to page number 82, right? In your book, I don't know what is the page number, so please make sure to go through that. The tempo of Mali's demand increased, though at one time Jagan had sighed for a word from his son. He now wished that the though had not occurred. He was being hunted when he passed in and out of the studied for a yes and no. Grace gazed at his face meaningfully. Mali, if he was at home, keep coming into his. Is that the part we have to start with? What is the part we discussed? We did 80, right? So we have to start with 81, is it? Right, we discussed this part, right? 81, right? We discussed 81. We have to start with 82. This 82. Yes, right, okay. The tempo of Mali's demand increased, though at one time Jagan had sighed for a word from his son. He now wished that the though had not occurred. He was being hunted when he passed in and out of the house. He felt his steps were watched, his face being secretly studied for a yes or no. Grace gazed at his face meaningfully. Mali, if he was at home, kept coming into his quarters on some excuse or other. After the first day's demonstration, Jagan studiously avoided all literary topics. Here is a scheme to make me a bankrupt, he said to himself whenever he heard footfalls approaching his room. $51,000. I am not growing over fond of money, but I am not prepared to squander it. Why should we want stories or machines for writing them? So from this part, what we can understand, from that day onwards, Jagan felt some kind of doubt to stay in the same house. Whenever he is walking here and there, he was under the impression that now Grace or Mali will come and ask that amount of money. But at the end of the day, he didn't have that amount of money to give. So he did not like to have any meeting or else any face-to-face interviews with Mali or else Grace, because he was afraid that they will ask money from him. Besides, he says that there is no point of starting this kind of story writing machine because people who live in India, they don't have money to buy these story writing machines because they are very poor. At the same time, they still enjoy all the legendary epics written by all the ancestors, Mahabharata and Ramayana, so they won't buy. So in this particular paragraph, what we can understand, Jagan's problem where he was always thinking that his son will come to him and ask money. So as a result of that, he was very careful not to meet his son or else his daughter-in-law. Right. One morning, Mali stood at the doorway of the puja room after his breakfast in blue pants with his hand resting on the top of the threshold, and Jagan sat before his gods. They do everything with machines nowadays. Washing machines, have you seen one? No, said Jagan, trying to cut all the mechanical references to a minimum. Grinding, powdering, or calculating, nowadays one uses electricity for everything. Behind him stood Grace, who added, even for sharpening pencils, we have machines. We should have brought one with us, Mali said, turning to her. Mali, who never used to see him before, was now intruding even into the privacy of his puja room. Now, previously, Mali never wanted to meet him. Can't you understand that? Now, Mali wanted money. As a result of that, now he is going behind his father. Now, previously, he did not care. Can you understand? In the previous paragraphs we discussed, Mali always neglected, ill-treated. Actually, Jagan had to wait out of Mali's house, Mali's room, in order to meet his son. Now, Mali is coming behind Jagan. Mali is coming behind Jagan in order to ask money. Now there is some kind of favoration. This is actually explained in this paragraph, right? So even into the privacy of his puja room, interrupting his prayers, Jagan met his disturbance passively by shutting his eyes and muttering some incantations until Grace said, "We should not disturb his prayers." Prayer was a sound way of isolating oneself, but sooner or later it ended. One could not go on praying eternally, though one ought to. So Grace said that, Mali, you should not disturb your father, he is praying. Jagan actually prayed in a louder manner because Jagan thought that Mali will go out of the house. Mali will not come and say this because now Jagan is little bit afraid that Mali will come and ask for money. in order to start his business, Mali Enterprises, right? So he is asking nearly 200,000 Indian rupees in order to buy the subscription. But unfortunately, Jagan did not have that amount of money. So Jagan did not want to start this conversation. Besides, Jagan knew that this business is not going to be a success, right? So this is page number 82. So I am moving to page number 83, right? Check whether in your book you have page number 83. Can anybody tell me what is the page number in the pink color book? I am in page number 83, right? So in the pink color book, you can refer to this part, right? Too. He had become rather sneaky nowadays. Soon after his prayers, he tiptoed to the kitchen to prepare his salt-free food, bolt it down, put on his khadi jibba, and slip away with the least noise. But he always found Grace at the passage ready to open the door for him with some remark about the weather or politics, gazing on his face with an unmistakable inquiry about his views on the machine. He was amazed at the intensity of her interest in Mali's fortunes as ever, he had two opposite feelings: appreciation of her interest in Mali and resentment at her effort to involve him in their business. Mali never thrust himself forward more than a minimum. He seemed to have felt left the task to Grace. Even his visitation at the threshold of the puja room in the morning seemed to have been dictated by Grace. An occasional misgiving tainted Jagan's thoughts. Might not Grace's interest, friendliness, and attentiveness to be a calculated effort to win his dollars. As he walked to his shop with his head bowed in thought, when the vagrant means the person who is walking here and there like a beggar. The vagrant, the same beggar at the statue corner, greeted him and begged for money. Jagan paused to ask for the 100th time in a year, "You are sturdy. Why don't you seek work? You are sturdy means you are lazy fellow. Why don't you seek some work and do? Where have I the time, master?" he said. "By the time I go round begging and return here, the day is over." Jagan tossed a 5 paise coin at him, remembering an ancient injunction. "Perform thy charity without question." In appreciation, the beggar said, "Master does not tell me much about America nowadays." Can you remember, right? This is the vagrant that Jagan used to tell about America, because if you can remember in chapter number 4, when Grace sent the blue color airmails, Jagan used to tell the information to the other people, right? That whom he met on the road. Later, it became a problem to the other people, so they escaped from Jagan. They ran away when they saw Jagan. And now, Jagan, then later what happened, Jagan actually used that beggar. He gave money to that beggar and recited all the stories about Grand Canyon, Kennedy's assassination, all these problems he discussed. Now the same vagrant is asking, "Why nowadays you don't tell me about America? Because I have told you all that you should know," right? Jagan said in a furious manner, "I have told you everything that you should know. What's the little master doing?" Even the beggar is asking about Mali. Here, little master refers to Mali, right? "What is the little master doing?" asked the beggar, dodging his steps. "Well, he will be starting a factory soon," replied Jagan with conviction. "What he will make? Some machinery." Jagan said, not wishing to elaborate, right? Jagan did not want to talk about that. That is page number 83, right? So we will move on to page number 84, right? Right. And wishing the beggar would leave him alone. Fortunately, he slipped off the pedestal some other person coming in the opposite direction, and Jagan quickened his pace. Passing truth printing, he spied Nataraj along at his desk and on impulse stopped to ask, "I hope you have not forgotten my work." How could I, said Nataraj. "As soon as the pressure of the seasonal printing lessons, yours will be the first. I am your family printer, you know. Your son has given me some urgent work." Even Mali has given something to print, right? "Your son has given me some urgent work, which he wants in 3 days. The prospects for his new enterprise." Cried Jagan. The scheme seemed to dog his steps. "Your name is in it," said Nataraj. Even your name is also there, right? Even your name is also there. Exclaimed Jagan. "My name is also there? I didn't know about that." Nataraj posted up his roll top and produced a proof sheet on which Jagan saw his name in print as one of the principal promoters of Mali Enterprises. So this is something very much important. Without informing Jagan, Mali has used his name. Without informing Jagan, important part, without informing Jagan, Mali has used his name. Mali has used his name as a business promoter, right? As a business promoter, right? You can see this here. So Jagan did not like that, right? Jagan did not like that. Without informing his father, he has used Jagan's name. The others in the list were Grace and a few Mali scooter riding friends. Nataraj studied his face and said, "Why aren't you pleased? Aren't you happy about that? What is the problem?" Jagan replied in a hello tone, "Yes, yes, no doubt," right? Jagan cannot say anything at all. So he said that, "Yes, yes, no doubt, I'm happy. Seems to be an interesting new kind of enterprise. Yes, yes, no doubt, right?" So Jagan is a little bit baffled now and he cannot give any answers. He hurriedly left for his shop as the cook stood before him, taking instructions for the day. He feared he too might begin to speak of the story writing machine, but luckily this man's universe of kitchen smoke and frying oil had not lost its insularity yet. Occupying his throne with the scent of incense and the frying, Jagan recovered a little bit of his sense of security. He opened the drawer and let his eyes rest on the copy of the Bhagavad Gita for a while. Now he has again started to read Bhagavad Gita, right, for a while. Opened a page at random and tried to get absorbed in his eternal message, but a part of his mind was deeply injured by the, right? So we are moving to page number 85. Sight of his own name in print of the prospects. How could Mali perpetrate such a deed, take so much for granted? But the poor boy probably had complete confidence in his father's support, and there was nothing heinous in that. It was quite natural. Still, he should at least have had the courtesy to mention it to him. Neither Grace nor Mali, but perhaps they had been hanging about his puja room to inform him of that rather than ask for capital, and he blamed himself for not giving them a chance. Right. So we are going to finish from there. Please make sure to mark from there. Right. We have to finish from this part, and next week we are going to start from here. So still we are discussing about chapter number 6, and we have to complete chapter number 6 in order to go to chapter number 7. I have to give you the note from chapter number 3. Unfortunately, I thought that I have already given chapter number 3 teachers note, but I have not given that. Most probably next week I will start with a teacher's note. So 2022 students, if you have already written that to teacher's note in chapter number 3, you don't have to participate for the session because you already have the note. But if you don't have the note, make sure to participate. We will continue from there from next week onwards. Please make sure to participate. I will give the note from chapter number 3 to 4 to 5 and 6. The teacher's note should be given, right? Please make sure to follow the book. Please make sure to read. I am reading each and every chapter. In your schools, they will not do that, right? So you can get a complete idea about the story, and then we will go to target questions, and then we will discuss all the important quotations. Make sure to highlight all the important quotations. You can see the book quite clearly, so you can go through the book without having any problem. Please make sure to practice your work. We will meet next week. Thank you so much.